What's poppin'? It's your boy Moses, aka Nomo, chilling right here in the Lit Out It podcast. Got a very special guest in the building. I got Mr.
Spanky, Loco. Yes, sir. Gracias. Thank you for having me.
Hey man, I really appreciate you pulling up to the Lit Out It podcast. You feel me? Like you're on this crazy media run right now. You've been on like these huge podcasts that are kind of have like a similar, Chicano shit. And you pulled up to my podcast, which is super small, dog. And that says a lot about you, dog. So I really appreciate you pulling up.
Thank you, carnal. I couldn't tell, homie. I mean, I think content is important, and so coming here is like going to all the other ones. It's a blessing to connect.
We got to take a second from this episode to give a shout out to our sponsor, Mr. Yu's Chinese Food. They've been in business since 1992. And that's right, it all started in the IE. The Montclair location offers a Teriyaki Tuesday. You get a bowl of teriyaki plus a drink for only $6. You heard right, only $6. Come here a little closer. Let me let you in on a little secret about Mr. Yu. Did you know they had a secret menu? That's right, you heard it here first. They got a secret menu. Let me tell you a few things about their secret menu. They got Spam fried rice, Thai chili fries, teriyaki chicken fried rice, pad Thai, jalapeno wontons. And that's just to name a few. Again, shout out to Mr. Yu for sponsoring this episode. Now let's get back to the show. I really appreciate that. Well, welcome to Southgate. The first and last time you're ever going to be in Southgate, because the only time fools pull up to Southgate is to be on the Lit Out It podcast.
Okay,
have you been here before?
I might be back in the Southgate because I'm in and out. So yeah, some good mariscos down the street.
That's right.
Some chili fries right up the way at Tam's
Yes,
on Long Beach Boulevard, or go down to Tweety and see Evan at Greenspan's.
Yeah, you know his name and everything. That's the OG right there.
Swing by Weddle's real quick. Say hi to Weddle at Cocopelli.
Sick.
Real quick. Get a little tattoo or something. Say you want. So yeah, we'll be in and out of Southgate for sure.
That's how I know you're really tapped into Southgate, because OG Greenspans is where you get the original Pendletons and the Dickies and the Davis. Those are the guys that supplied, I think, Boys in the Hood, NWA, with all their gear for those movies and stuff. And then Coco Pelli is like the legendary, most famous store down Tweety Boulevard as far as tattoos.
Amazing. My boy's put in his work.
Yeah, dog.
He's put in his work. I remember we used to see him at, I can't remember what Swami it was. It was him and his wife, and they had a puesto. They got a small, I can't remember which one it was, but the hustlers, they've been hustling. Yeah, they've been hustling.
They've really been putting in work. Shout out to them.
See.
But some of the people that are watching this right now, maybe the first time they get introduced to you, why don't you tell us where it all started, where you're from?
I'm from West LA. I do music, I do tattoos, and lately I've been doing a lot of community work.
Okay.
So that's my forte, art, music. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Like, it's seen with you carry yourself with upper echelon class and style with your tattoos and everything.
Hey,
when did the love for tattoos start for you?
So coincidentally, like, I'm probably most known for the music portion of it, and so coincidentally, I actually was tattooing before I was doing anything.
Okay.
Before I was doing any music, or I was writing on all the little homies. So that was my biggest tool, or my biggest trade. Or at the moment, I mean, you don't think it's a trade.
Right.
For me, it was like, oh shit, $100 to tattoo so and so, or $80 to do some things, and that's a whole lot of, feria for someone just trying to get a white T-shirt and some guy towards this way, towards Southgate. You know what I'm saying?
That's right.
And so, at the moment, I guess you want it to become a business, but you never imagined that the industry would be as huge as it is now. So I think music was something that I really got into, that I really developed with the help of, a lot of great people. Got national distribution, and, at one point was in malls, when music was in malls. Sam Goody, The Warehouse. Damn. Right at that dying era, we got to have, a little bit of music up, and
before streaming.
That's exactly.
Dope, dog.
Out the trunk.
Because I remember, having to go either to a swap meet and get burn or fake CDs, or going to Sam Goody when you got the money for a $20 CD. It was really a thing.
Well, Plaza Mexico, across the street there was a restaurant, and it was actually a CD shop across the way. It was like a little shopping center, restaurant, CD hub, and besides going to some of the other well-known CD spots, that was one of our, I think that's why we would tap into Southgate. So if you know,
Yeah.
Yeah, this location. They'd have a bunch of CDs, and they'd have everybody's CDs. All the homies' CDs would be there. So
That's right. You did mention that you were probably more known originally for your music than your tattoos. You are known for having some of the most popular maybe beefs or riffs or like, you know, just overall like, you know, in rap music is very competitive. So sometimes you get into with other rappers, right? Which is normal.
See.
But before we get into that stuff, which everyone obviously keep watching because we're gonna get into it. Usually for rap, I think you have to fall in love with the music as a fan first, and then you become a rapper, right?
Right.
What is some of the early rap that you fell in love with that made you want to start rapping?
LA rap, West Coast rap, MCA, South Central Cartel, Ice Cube, Dog Pound, Snoop, DJ Quick, all of that. I think that's a lot of the sounds that forged our direction.
Right.
Yeah. I remember at a young age, people would ask me, oh, or we'd have an argument like, we'd sit there and argue, be like, FM is better than AM.
Damn.
And I'd be like, nah, AM is better than FM because you could tune into K-Day.
Yeah, KD was AM.
And
first.
that's where you could hear MC Light, EPMD, Easy E. I mean, it was really coming out of the frequency. It wasn't the best quality,
right.
but again, if you know, you know.
But it kind of almost like that gritty sound, a little pops in the background, kind of made it a little bit more gangster, no? Like a little more underground.
Yeah, for sure. And I think, but at the time you're looking for clarity. You're looking like, man, I want to bump it. But the fact that it was coming out of the radio at that time, it was so taboo on me.
Yeah.
Like rap music was not a popular thing. It was looked down on. It wasn't like that was the only outlet. It wasn't like on commercials. It wasn't on
Movies.
No way, homie. No way. It wasn't that popular. So when you were into that, you know what I'm saying? It was like you were supporting something that was taboo, something that was not common to what you hear. Pop was popular.
Against
Michael
the grain.
Jackson, you know, the Police.
Bruce Springsteen.
Bruce Springsteen,
AC/DC,
yeah.
all that white boy stuff. Right?
All of that. That was popular music for sure.
You know, when I was younger, when I was younger too, like I love, you know, like rooting for the bad guy. I always used to watch Scarface and thinking there would be a different ending, you know, like I used to love the bad guy and all that shit. And then like I've always gravitated to anti-culture, right?
Right.
Fuck the police and all this shit as I was when I was younger,
Right.
as most young men do, right? What do you think it is about that lifestyle or that music that attracted you to it?
I think it's the fact that you're like, oh no, don't listen to that. Don't do that. Well, shit, I'm gonna go listen to it more. I'm gonna actually go buy the album, or, you know, like hearing an NWA album, I was like, wow, they really allowed to put this on records? I couldn't believe it, you know?
Yeah.
Because it came with so much content, not just one song, Fuck the Police or whatever the case might be. It was a lot of, you know, harsh content on there. And I'd be like, wow, there's more records? There's gotta be more records like this.
Right.
Because they saying it like they don't give a fuck. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it was all on you know, on the record. My mom, I played the stuff at the house. I'd have Wild Style records. I'd have Run DMC records. I love collecting records here and there. And I remember, my mom would be like, don't play that shit in my house.
Yeah.
Yeah, very
my dad would hate
taboo.
that shit too. My dad would say it sounded like two perros ladrando. Like two dogs barking at each
There
other.
you go. Yeah, so when I tell you it was taboo, it was taboo. But I mean, that's what forged, I think, the love for West Coast hip hop, the love for that sound, that style, low riding music, tattooing. It's all part of the cultura, you know.
Yeah.
I only fell suit to what I grew up in. You know what I mean?
That makes a lot of sense for me as far as like, because when I hear some of your songs and some of your music videos on YouTube, like your style, even though like you're Chicano, obviously you're Mexican, bald headed, this and that, you know, you would think a Chicano rapper has a certain sound, especially back in the 90s or early 2000s, right? But to me, you sound like I want to say like a regular rapper, but almost like your traditional classic rapper.
Right.
And is that because you were just only listening to that type of music, or did you do it on purpose?
I think staying true to the roots is important, but I can't, like, if I didn't grow up around that, then there was no way for me to portray that. There was no way for me like, oh, hey, homie, estamos en la rampa, whoa, 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 homie, whoa, 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 whoa.
Your homies weren't talking
you
like
know,
that?
like, nah. And it's crazy because the homies actually, in my area and a lot of others in the area, there's no issue with like saying the N-word, homie. Like
Right.
that's just how we grew up. And like I know people like, oh my gosh, let me turn this off. Let me turn this podcast off right now.
Right.
Blasphemy. Chicanos don't say that, but really, homies, you gotta do your research. Chicanos do a lot of interesting things, and one of the interesting things that they do is they say nigga.
Yeah.
What's up, my nigga? What's up? You know, like, and it's not like we're identifying with anything but identifying with an urban demographic.
Right.
It's a melting pot. Every other corner is a barrio. Every other corner is a new ethnicity. Every other corner is something that makes up what we are as people here in Southern California. So when you say, oh, we don't talk like that, you don't know that there's people that talk like that.
Or maybe
it just offends you.
Or maybe
because,
in your city they don't talk
because
like
in your area,
yeah.
they didn't talk like that.
Right.
But if you came down to the PBG's, Westside Locos, 18th Street area, Venice La Cienega area, you'd understand that that's how motherfuckers talked. Or you go up to Inglewood, that's how they talk. My suegra, she'll still talk like that. What's up, my nigga? Smoke me out. In Venice.
That's
And she's a señora.
yeah.
So when I hear people, oh, don't talk like that, you might as well start telling people, oh, don't dress like that. Oh, don't look like that. Oh, don't do this like that. Like, sheesh, get out of here. Please. I respect it. I understand.
Right.
But to make that your issue, oh, let me get on there and tell this little homie he shouldn't be saying the N. Like, oh
From
my
a private
God,
page.
please, homie. You know?
From a private profile with no picture.
It's just, you got to have a better understanding than that. We're not simple people. We're made up of different complex things that make up who we are as people as a whole
Right.
in Southern California. You know, you have homies in the west side, homies in the east side, homies in, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, you got to take that into consideration. Now, when guys will be like, oh, well, if you talk like that, then you were black too. Go say that to a barrio of homies that are homies that represent what you represent, but only talk with twang. That's the only difference. Because I never seen homies start sagging and wearing do-rags and doing things that would now question our integrity or who we are as people. It's just how we communicated.
Right.
You feel me? So I don't know. Different strokes for different folks.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't exclude, how people come and how people God made them or God made them interact. It's like to each their own, homie. You know what I mean? Who are you to say, oh, I don't talk to him. He talks like that.
Yeah, especially when you grew up in listening to hip hop, every other word is that, right? And then
I mean, come on.
My neighbor, which was one of my best friends growing up, we were little kids, he was half black, right? So he would always say it. And after a while, dog, se te pega, you start saying it. Now as I get older, I don't really talk to him no more. And I made it a point to try to stop saying it because
Right.
out of respect, because some people do get offended by it.
Right.
But growing up and you're like a young man, dude, for years I would say it.
It's like,
And never as a term, it was a term of endearment. It was never as disrespectful, right?
Right.
Obviously without the R's and stuff.
correct. Exactly.
Right.
And me as an adult, I don't use the term. And it's funny because I don't use the term in none of my songs.
Mm-hmm.
So I've never used the term in any of my songs. I don't use it freely. But so I feel like you wouldn't correlate that with me. But if you asked me, hey, you say that, I'd be like, what's the problem?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? What's the problem? I never had someone say, hey, homie, I don't like the way you're talking, homie. Check yourself, homie. Like, nah, I never had that happen. You know what I'm saying? Because we're going to have problems.
Right.
That's like, oh, I don't like that sweater. Now, what you going to do, make me take it off because you don't like the sweater? Nah, we got problems.
Facts.
So I think, it's no reason to be there. Oh, hey, homie, I don't think that you should be, our people don't talk like, man, you don't know what our people do. If you think that nobody, that everyone is like this, then you don't really understand our people.
Right.
Go to Texas. Oh, but that's Texas. No, it don't matter. It's different flavors, you feel me? Different representations of the wide scope of how our people come packaged. Now you start nitpicking and you start telling us what to do and how to do it, then now you're just being oppressive like everyone else. oh, don't do this. Why? Because you said so. You know what I'm saying? Oppressive mentality. Don't worry about what I'm doing. Don't worry about it. It ain't cost you no feria. Ain't no offending you other than here on the internet on the phone while you're sitting there at your pad and ain't gonna give two fucks tomorrow. But you gotta say something negative. Oh, it's just to say negativity, really.
Right.
You know? Let motherfuckers live.
Yeah.
You feel me? I think there's other things to worry about than that.
Yeah. Bigger,
my opinion.
Bigger fish to fry, for sure.
But it's not because I'm defending, like, oh, I say that all day. I talk a certain way, and I don't want nobody to impose their restrictions on me. No, I don't even, like, really converse like that. You feel me? But growing up, we did.
Right.
Yeah, growing up, we really did.
For sure.
Yeah.
You know, when you I used to love to freestyle with the homies, rap, and you know, do street shit, do hood rat shit with the homies. Feel me? Like tag and shit like that, right? Growing up, getting in trouble. Eventually, as you get older, you learn all the bullshit that comes with doing bullshit, right?
See.
When you started rapping, it's because obviously you wanted to rap, you thought it was fun, and you wanted to, you know, make either for a business or whatever it was.
Yes.
Were you ready for all the bullshit it came with? And what was some of the bullshit that you didn't like about being a rapper, or being you're still a rapper, but doing rap?
I think it was like an outlet for us, and because we were limited to resources and limited to talent and limited to the need for doing traditional things, of course, using what we had and being resourceful what we had, we entertained that. You know what I'm saying? We never imagined that it would snowball into what it did. But I mean, you had 2-3 guys that were very business savvy, that were hard workers, that were detail oriented, that if you put them in any other position of power, of leadership, man, give me a company with the homies, we probably would have ran that company and made billions off of that. You know what I'm saying? The need was so strong to survive and to do great things that we really were using that opportunity to do the most, promote as hard as we could. Southgate was one of our biggest markets because it was down the street from the west side. It was like there's a lot of raza there. There's a lot of cruising down Long Beach Boulevard at one point.
Yeah.
Let's go out there. Let's go out there with thousands of posters. Let's go out there with promo CDs. Let's go out there and give out shirts. Let's wrap the van up and drive up and down Long Beach and attack our market. You feel me? Conquer our market. So I think you give the right guys the right resources and they could do amazing things, homie. Leadership is a crucial thing amongst gang members. Now imagine if you put them in corporate positions where they could use those leadership skills to do amazing things, right? So I think that was our take, is like, okay, we got something here. Let's set it off. Let's do the most. Let's do the most. But again, we were all dealing with trauma. We were all somehow gang involved. We were dealing with drug abuse. We were dealing with a bunch of things that just made the combination a tough combination for us to succeed.
Right.
You know, the chemistry there was rough. And so you had to be rough. And when the opposition didn't like what you did, well, then you shot back. Shots fired. And as newcomers, you always had opposition. You always had guys that were like, nah, they ain't it. So what are we doing when we're in a corner? We're pushing back. And that's where you get like tension and friction. Yes.
You know, sometimes the odds can always be against you, especially like, you know, maybe not as much now as before. But being Mexican or Chicano in any industry before, right, as far as maybe before now, has always been tough.
Yes.
But whenever I see another Chicano or Mexican or Raza, especially from like the area that I'm from or California in general, you know, like I love to like connect and, you know, help each other out. And I feel like that's what you try to do when you saw 6ix9ine, a Mexican kid doing numbers from New York, right? You try to extend your the olive branch to kind of bring them over here. Because, you know, back in those days, we never really had like a rapper that was like super monumental for the West Coast Chicano, other than maybe like, I guess the biggest one could be, I guess you could say Little Rob. And there's a lot of other smaller camps that did it really well, right? Everyone knows their names, Capone and Mr. Criminal, people like that, right? But tell me the situation what your intentions were with the 6ix9ine beef and why you think it's your most viewed video on YouTube.
I mean, I think it's important to embrace homies. Again, energy, chemistry, just didn't allow that situation to flourish. And so when we felt like we were now on the opposite side of each other, you know what I'm saying, where we wasn't in great standing, then friction came from that. Issues came from that. It's like one side didn't want to ease up, the other side didn't want to ease up, and like that, you're bound to have issues. You feel me? So for us, I think it was timing. The timing wasn't for us, and so it caused a big commotion. At the end, I have fun with it. It's like I was just having fun with it.
I could tell. The music video was hilarious.
Yeah, I was just having fun with it. It wasn't like because if you it's like you asked me earlier, how do you deal with this? Like, what do you feel when motherfuckers are like dissing you or and like you gotta have a thick skin for shit like this.
Right.
You feel me? You can't be like, oh my God, look what he said about me. Oh no, look what he said about me. Oh my God, he hates me. Like, that's the name of the game, homie. Just like you're going to have people that love what you do, you're going to have people that hate what you do. And maybe sometimes the understanding wasn't there and we didn't take the right steps to mediate or remedy, but that's I think how we dealt with conflict and how we dealt with problems. We welcomed them. You know what I'm saying? We welcomed them. So these days, I think, looking back at those situations, I would like to say, like, for me personally now, positivity is everything. Love is everything. I definitely now, would maybe do things different. Hard to say. Yeah, you feel me? At that time, at that moment, that's what happened. And now in this moment, moving forward and living through, beefs with this guy, and history repeats itself. I've had beef with, he ain't the only one, other rappers that we've had serious issues with, and the same. I feel like you got to have a thick skin for this stuff. And dealing with one 10 years back and dealing with another 10 years later and history repeating itself, it's like, it's like I was made for that job. You feel me? It's like, who else was going to do that job? Me, the most hated. You feel me? I've already received hate from so many people. It's like, I got this. I'll deal with it. No problem. And so I feel like now, considering a lot of things, the future of music, the future of our kids, the state of how our society is, me personally, on a personal level, I feel like my contribution to the game could be different. You feel me? I feel like if I'm gonna speak up or do something, talk about the next man, it's gonna be to lift the next man.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'm not really falling for the okie doke. I'd like to embrace my youngsters, lift my youngsters. If you don't fuck with me, God bless you. You know what I'm saying? And if you do, God bless you. Anything that I can help you with, let's do it. You know what I'm saying? I give art and I give paintings and I give what I can when I need to, when I feel the need. Hey, here, homie, I like what you do here. Or hey, let's link up. I'd love to play at your place, or whatever the case might be to start that positive engagement. That's where I'm at now. You know what I'm saying? Oh, that's too late for all that. You should have done it back then with this person or that person. Well, that's my prerogative. You feel me? This is how destiny worked out for me. You know what I'm saying? It didn't take till now for me to be able to see what I want my energy to be put out as, and also what my legacy, what I want my legacy to be. Mm-hmm. I don't want my legacy to be you're the guy that beef with so-and-so.
Right.
I beef with a lot of motherfuckers, but I want you to know that I also loved a lot of people, and I helped a lot of people, and I employed a lot of people, and I worked with a lot of kids, and I worked with my community, and I lifted lowriding, and I lifted tattooing, and I lifted the graffiti arts. You feel me?
Yeah. I feel like a lot of people like to see shit burned down. I feel like there's a reason why that video which is only one video but has like 1 million views on YouTube. When you have other songs that are just as dope or even better that have much less views, you know, there's podcasts that have millions and billions of views and all they talk about is drama, who's beefing with this and that. And obviously, I try to stay away with it. Sometimes we can't because it's part of like someone's history. We have to talk about it. But my channel would be a lot bigger if I also focused on beef and stuff like that.
Correct.
Why do you think some people like to see conflict? Like, what is it about it?
It's not understanding the long-term effect. You feel me? It's like cancer. At first we're, you know, oh, it's not that bad. It's just a little mole, you know. But then when it starts affecting your whole body, when it's all over you, when you're consumed by it, when you're only thinking that, then it becomes an issue. And I don't want to be having my kids and I'm like an angry motherfucker. I'm not content at home. I'm not content with my life. I'm not content with what I do. I'm not happy as a person. Like, I want to be genuinely on track at home first, have a great relationship with my kids, my old lady, raise my beautiful baby, raise my other big babies, you know, in the best way that I can without being two-sided. Yeah, one day I'm here and being positive this way, but behind closed doors, I'm in the studio and I'm dissing these guys and I'm doing negative things. It's like I want to embody moving forward. I want to embody change. I want to be able to, again, have a legacy that's meaningful. And yeah, I went through all these phases. Normal. Forgive me if I offended anyone. Forgive me if I made you feel like shit. You feel me? I'd rather eat that because I know what it feels like to have the whole world fall on top of you and be like, we hate you. You're dissing our favorite rapper. You're trying to hurt our favorite rapper. Like, what's wrong with you? Like, I get it. You feel me? But me, my personal issues, I understand why. And I know the moves that I had to make to you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
To be there and be that. Things snowball out of control right away.
Right.
Oh, that's the tap in guy. Tap in with him. You got to tap in. No, we don't tap in with no one.
Are you the original tap-in guy?
Come on, homie. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying?
Because at one point I feel like you, especially with the internet that hypes things up, you were kind of like the original Chicano boogeyman, the West Coast LA boogeyman for a little bit there.
You know? And I don't know. It's like, what do I really want to be known for? I want to be known for beautifying the world, making murals all over LA, murals all over Washington.
Dope. Continue
to do murals out of the country, tattooing people all over the world.
That's hard.
I got bigger fish to fry, homie.
Hell yeah.
Creating a brand that goes, you know, crosses international lines, going and helping our youngsters in the juvenile detention centers, giving away my art for the kids, sitting there and painting and doing art with kids, having community days of beautifying schools and feeding families, and that's what I'm into now.
Was there a specific moment in time or situation where you're like, oh shit, like this ain't me? Like you kind of took a step back from being the boogeyman? Something specific or just over time gradually?
I mean, I've always had the need to want to do things in my community, but I feel like recently trying to understand how the world works and city council members and how businesses run and what it means to be a brown entrepreneur. All of these things were very crucial. You feel me? And it was very eye-opening and why we don't have generational wealth, why we are like, why we succumb to so much trauma instead of giving our kids a legacy, giving them seed funding, giving them property, we're giving them debt, we're giving them our problems. You feel me? It's like, I want to be able to change that, homie. I want to be able to say, hey, there's the businesses I set up for you guys. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a lawyer. But shit, I'll show you how to tattoo. I'll show you how to do this mural. I'll show you how to engineer music. Not the professions that I would love for them to be.
Right.
But I know they get at least feed their kids. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I think.
Recently, you've been talking a lot about peace, unity, and helping the youth not fall into the same traps that, you know, maybe some people before you have fell into, right?
Right.
But you do have interviews that are living on the internet, as far as like maybe the one with Tony the Wizard, where he brings out your past beef with Night Owl, and you said some maybe like you're still standing on business as far as like that beef. Do you still feel that way with all your beefs?
You know what? That you know, the homie passed away. Right. Night Owl passed away. Rest in peace. And
rest in peace.
I feel like if we had the opportunity to to really mend those wounds and really move forward, I think that I would today, I would pick that option. I would pick,
Entertain it.
yeah, I would pick the option of, if he accepted my apologies, if he accepted my hand, of course, I think that's the direction that I would like to move
What do you
towards. You know what I
Why do you
mean?
think that would be important for you now?
I think for me, working with youth, being more community driven, I think it's crucial to lead by example. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a new day for me. I have a lot of you know spiritual guidance that I count on, within myself, most importantly, being strong enough to know what's right, what's wrong, what's good for my community, what's good for my own kids, what's good for my neighbors' kids. So when you're, thinking in this way, I think you start developing a habit of wanting to do a lot more positive things. You feel me? And for me, restraining from negative behavior, focusing on positive outlets, doing positive things, being around positive people. All of that is very important. Has been a huge factor on my, I think, shift.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
A lot of times, when we're growing up, it's all about the homies. The homies this, the homies that. Like, your life revolves
Right.
about the homies. But I think a lot of us, as we get older, it's more about your family, your immediate kids. Your responsibility kind of shifts from the homies to, like, your immediate family. Was it
Right.
hard for you to make that separation as far as, like, maybe cutting some people off?
Yeah, definitely you gotta cut people off. That's the reality of transformation.
Right.
Yeah, the reality of life, and and the different chapters that we live. You feel me? Like, if you're stuck in the same spot, you really gotta look at your surroundings. You gotta look at what's motivating you to stay in that rut, in that circle, in that situation. Now, if you hang around with people that are gonna motivate you and lift you and guide you in the right direction, by all means, you're gonna win.
Right.
Right? And so, because we're limited with these friends, resources, and this type of behavior, I would like to be that person that you can count on that'll tell you, hey, nah, homie, mejor no. Let's do it like this. Or, hey, homie. And I know a lot of motherfuckers will be like, no way.
Not you.
Not you. I doubt it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Not like, oh, no, don't do it. But like, nah, I don't believe it.
Yeah.
You feel me? And that's normal. I mean, I've done a lot of things and said a lot of things as an underdog, right? I've been in positions where, as an underdog, I gotta defend myself. Well, yeah, I'm gonna look bad. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna look bad being up against the fence and having to bite back, having to fight back, right? And I feel like those options aren't necessary. At least in this point of my life, it's not a option to fight, and it's not an option to, express myself negatively. I want to be able to lift the next man. I want to be able to fill your cup. You feel me? And with positivity, not with bullshit.
Yeah.
You feel me?
I feel like a lot of people, like, make that shift from being selfish to selfless. Like, a lot of times, like, if I don't get down with this fool, like, what are they gonna think about me? What is that gonna say about me? I'm gonna look like a bitch or whatever, right? The other day, dog, I coached my son's baseball team, and a parent was upset with me, and he's a homie, like, and he got really upset, and he was trying to get down with me, dog, in front of everybody, in front of little kids. My son was next to him, his son's right there,
right?
And I had to, like, the old me, would have been like, fuck it, let's get down in the rain right here in front of everybody, dog.
Crack him in the chin.
But, me being selfless, knowing that my son, we've been playing baseball, or like putting baseball first in his life this whole time. Like, I could really easily, he's about to go into high school. I could have been selfish and worried about my ego. It really fucked up his chances of getting into a good high school or college. Like, oh, his dad's crazy. Because they asked, the coaches asked, like, what about his parents? What did his parents do? Oh, his dad's a psychopath. He got down with some fool one time at a park. And that would have really fucked up my son's legacy. So I had to feel like, I didn't take an L because I kind of, I stood up for myself. But I could have took it to that next level. And I think it was a big part of, like, being selfless and not selfish.
It's true, homie.
You feel me?
You got to give a lot away
Yeah.
when you're like that.
Because that's more important to me. My son's more important to me than what people think about me. You feel me?
Right. And sometimes you got to do that. Turning the cheek is not an easy thing.
Trust me, dog.
I think the most gangster thing you can do is try and be as righteous as possible.
Right.
That's the gangster thing to do. To lead by example, to show your kids that, you know, through you everything is possible. Change is possible. You know, positive outlooks are possible.
Right.
You know what I mean? But it's again, like at my house, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go and help kids out, but I'm not good with my own kids at home. Mm-hmm. It's like we've had to work on this at home. We've had to work on, you know, on our own behavior at home with my kids, our relationships. I mean, I got a 14-year-old and I got one as young as 10 months old.
Damn.
So, you know, there's different faces to the daddy role, you know, and I want all of them to be that face that they're going to remember and be like, nah, my dad gave it his best shot.
And they're proud of you and shit.
Yeah, he gave it his best fucking shot, that guy. And I do. I take him out of town. I take my sons to my tattoo conventions with me. If I go work a table with 8 of the homies that are tattooing with me and set up shop and have, you know, products there or quoting tattoos or whatever, my son, my 13-year-old boy, is there to give me a hand. But that's stuff that I've worked at, you know, building his confidence, bringing him around, grooming him, showing him how to, you know, do Zelle, showing them how to quote tattoos, sitting there drawing with them.
Communication skills.
Yeah, we've worked at it. Do we have a great relationship? Do we fall short of that? Of course we fall short. You know, nobody's perfect.
Right.
Show them to me so I can learn something from them. But it's tough, homie. In this day and age, it's really hard to navigate that world and be able to embrace your kids and move forward. And so I think, you know, having a connection with God, being a lot more faithful, looking at my own situation, looking at my kid's situation, looking at my neighbor's situation, it's like I don't think we have the luxury to sit here and be assholes. We need to step up and be leaders, use our platform to talk about how God is important in our lives right now during trying times, and saying that we have the energy and the power to do it through the big homie. Now, mind you, I'm not a Christian guy. I'm not a big, you know, hey, brother, come here, can I pray with you type deal? Like, I would love to,
right.
But I feel like that's not in my capacity yet.
Okay.
I haven't advanced to that level yet. Well, can you stop me and be like, hey, let me pray for you, homie? Hell yeah. I'll put my head down and take my gafas off, and I'm there with you, because what you're filling my cup with, you don't understand. It's amazing, homie. And that's what I want to do. I want to give that back and, you know, do great things. You feel me?
You know, this weekend, you've posted a lot of pictures on Instagram in your little media tour that you were doing right now in LA with a bunch of like I said, big timers, big famous people in our community, Chicanos and rappers and artists and this and that.
The homies,
you know,
yeah.
What I was really surprised on is because I've had Bozo on here before, and everyone knows about Bozo and his his classical beefs. Maybe he's the new Chicano boogeyman, like I called you earlier. And one day you had a picture with Jay Solano and Bozo,
homies.
And then the next day you had a picture with Swifty Blue, dog. And people know that they don't really get along. Why was it important for you to post both pictures? And how are you able to like maneuver between both camps? And obviously you're here, nothing happens to you. No one tells you shit.
I think the homies know that they converse and congregate with whoever they want without it having to affect me. You feel me? I can't be like, hey, Bozo, I saw you hanging out with so-and-so. I don't think that's cool, homie. No, that's not cool, homie. I don't like that guy. I hate that guy. You know what I mean? It's like, I wouldn't impose that on you as my friend. Right? So therefore, if you know I'm a good friend to you, if you know I'm genuine to you, nothing else should matter, because you know I'm not that guy that's going to be here and there and acting up and doing any of that. I'd love to keep you as a friend. And I'd love to talk to this other little homie and keep him as a friend. And I'd love to go see Criminal and go see Jay and go see you and go see... And no one would have an issue with that. I would love for that to happen, right? I don't get deep into the beef stuff. I don't get too involved in that. I don't, I don't wanna understand it because I've been there plenty of times. I've lived it. I know it.
Right.
So you're not gonna tell me about beef. I'm the poster child for that shit.
Right.
You know what I mean? But again, this day and age, today, I want to go and tell the little homie, hey homie, keep at it. God bless you. Regardless of what anyone thinks about you. I want to come to the next homie. Hey homie, keep pushing. You're doing a great job. That's our moment. That's our time. You, me, nobody else's time. And it's not influenced by anything other than love, respect. So I'd like to say that each relationship with each homie is different and doesn't have anything to do with anybody else.
I think that says more about you than the beef in general. It's like people trust your judgment. People trust, your accolades, what you've been through, to be like, you know what? I think this fool knows what he's doing, and we're gonna roll with it. You feel me?
Right. It'd be like sad to relive energy that I've already lived through. I've had homies be like, nah, I ain't talking to you, fool. I heard what your homie said about you. And shit like that will break my heart, homie. Because in my mind, I'm thinking, well, I never did shit to you,
Right.
motherfucker. Like, what do you mean you're not going to talk to me no more? And then that's when you start thinking, well, like, damn, he wasn't never really my homie then. This guy didn't care about me, and I'm trying my best to be his friend.
It was conditional, not unconditional.
You feel me? So it's like, I know what it's like to feel like you're the only one in that room. I felt it, homie. And again, you gotta have a thick skin
Right.
for stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like, I've laughed at stuff like that. I've welcomed it, how twisted we've been. Yeah, fuck it, come on. But take a number, homie.
Yeah.
Take a number. Let's get it, homie. Right. And I'm gonna pull up in your city. I'm gonna be right there because I go everywhere. And I'm, come on. But that's not the attitude. That's not what I want to live by. You know what I'm saying? I want to give you peace. I want to give you love. I want to give you a painting. I want to tell you it's going to be all right. Because in this day and age, trust me, homie, this is what we need to be hearing. Look at how the world is falling apart. Do you think we really have the luxury to be like, fuck this guy, fuck that guy, fuck. We're brown people, homie, that need to lift each other. We need that. We're underserved. We're marginalized, homie. The whole reason we do these things is because we don't have outlets. If we were in Harvard together, we'd probably be arguing about other things. Oh, hey, I didn't like the way you hit the ball at badminton. You know what I'm saying? Or, hey, physics, quantum physics I didn't like your answer at quantum physics. You could have done a lot better than that. Like, homie, we wouldn't be on this bullshit.
Facts.
We'd be on some other shit, homie. But that's not the life we live. We don't have that luxury. And so what we need to do is wake up and be like, man, let's lift each other. How can I better serve you? How can I help you, homie? How can I be of service to you? If I gave you a painting one day, mind you, we're selling paintings for $10,000.
God damn. They're fire.
If I gave you a painting one day, man, take it to the heart, homie, because I really gave it to you with Cora. I really gave you something that's a piece of me. I fucking bled on that shit. I cried on it. I put my heart into it, into this art thing, because it's all I got. That's it. So, again, these days it's positivity over everything. And fools could be like, oh, this guy's crazy. Look at him. He still looks like a fuck up. He still looks like he's no good. And it reminds me of high school, some guys came from Victory Outreach. Not even high school. This was, I think, junior high. And me and the little homies were sitting there and we were tripping out that these fools came and they're like, nah, homies, you got to do better. And we're sitting there laughing, homie. We were laughing. I remember I raised my hand. I was like, well, if you want us to do better, why you look like that? Why you look like a homie? And the answer was magnificent. Homie, this is how I grew up. This is how I was raised. I don't know no other way. But I want you to know that God loves you. I want you to see beyond this and understand that our impact is way stronger than what your eyes see. And that's everything, homie. So if you could see beyond my past, if you could see beyond the beef, if you could see beyond the stigma, the face tattoos, the tramos, if you could see beyond that and see that we're trying to have a heart of gold, then I did something right with you. You feel me?
So I wanted to bring up you working with Gold Toes. A lot of people see him here in Southern California making big moves, making money moves, doing business right with a lot of people.
Yeah, shout out Gold Toes.
That people like are like, you know, like, whoa, how is this fool down here doing business and this and that? But you personally have, you know, shifted your mentality from not being cool with it to being cool with it. How does a person shifting the mentality, like how does that benefit one? Like what have you gained from a relationship like that?
I mean, when we talk, I don't feel like we're talking no dumb shit. I feel like I'm talking to a primo. I'm talking to a good-hearted person that cares about your well-being, that cares about your future, that wants to instill his work ethics onto you, that's going to give you good advice. And I don't know, that sounds to me like a righteous person.
Right.
Right? Not, you know, hitting agendas or whatever the case might be. And this is stuff that he's been trying to manifest for 8 years, 10 years probably. The first call I got from him was like, hey, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. And I was like, ooh, I fuck with you. I've heard of you. But I'm not at the front line with your movement. But I fuck with you. I appreciate that you call me. I'll probably call you back. I'll probably see how you're doing and tap in. But I don't know if I feel that, you know, like I'm the man for that job. You feel me? And this was 10 years ago. This was 8 years ago. He's been so persistent with manifesting unity, manifesting. And mind you, he's the one bringing up these very unorthodox ideas of brown love.
Right.
Imagine that. Brown love. Wow. What a scary thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so with that, maybe that's another thing that's forged my new beginnings. Maybe that's another thing that's filled my cup. And I'm like, well, yeah, if the homie's, you know, offering me, you know, a means to eat and putting, you know, giving me good advice and telling me, hey, you know, tipping his hat. I mean, what I'm going to do? Nah, fuck you. No, you know what I'm saying? There comes a point you gotta move to the next chapter. Homeboys died. Well, then for the sake of the dead homies, let's do it. For the sake of the dead homies, then. All across the board. Not one side, not the other. For that's enough reason to say, come on, let's do some revolutionary stuff that makes sense for our future as people, for our future as a collective, right? We work with Bloods, we work with this group, Latin Kings. I go to New York, I go to Japan, I can't work with a homie. We cannot work in unison, in love, in good spirits, and support each other's endeavors and help build brown entrepreneurs. Because that's what we're talking about here. We're not talking about playing with fire and touching gang business and stirring up the pot to see what's going to happen. No, we're talking about lifting raza. We're talking about empowering Mexicans, empowering Chicanos, helping you create your own business, helping you see that we can do it, right? That's the direction that we're going. And so I'm down with that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm down with that. And all the signs that God has put in front of me, they only make sense to move in that direction. I'm a faithful person these days. You know, I sit there and pray on it. When I don't have the answer, I wake up and pray on it again, you know, and try and decipher it. I'd be like, God, what are you trying to tell me here? Because everything's a sign. Everything is a sign. I sit back and I'm taking it back and I go, oh, shit, what can I do? What do I do with this? And I pray on it and I do my best with it. So I'm on some other shit, carnal.
Yeah.
Otro viaje, otro pedo. You know what I mean? But that's growth. You know, that's growth. You talk to certain homies, they're like, fuck this guy, fuck it. And I'm just like, still? You know what I mean? Like, not only is it bad for the area, but it's bad for you. It's bad for your soul. You feel me? All this hate, hey, I hate this, I hate that, I hate him, I hate her. Homie, let it go and let's move forward and see how we can fill your cup up with something beautiful, positive. That's what I'm on.
The 310 Boys, right?
Yes.
What was the official name of it?
310 West.
310 West.
310
Tell me
West.
the beginnings of that and where you are with that right now.
I think it was a brand. It was an identification to the area, to the homies, to, building something that collectively we felt like
belonged to you.
Yeah. And I think my lack of selfishness towards creating my own brand, Spanky Loco, Mr. Spanky Loco, or whatever the case might be, I think that was my
Achilles tendon, like Achilles.
Yeah, it was tough, because I gave a lot of homies we're gonna do this, we're gonna do it. So it's like putting it all into that brand, into that machine was very important. But not everyone was for that. You feel me? A lot of those sleepless nights, I wrote a lot of the songs. I had to record a lot of the stuff. I would sit with the engineers and, finalize music and finalize art. And it was a lot, homie, a lot for guys to just pop up and be like, oh, I'm here. Let's roll. It's like, but you're not here every day. And although I love you, it's like, I don't know, I'm here working this shit 24/7, not 9 to 5, 24/7. This is the only thing I do. So with the economy, with things shifting, I remember 2008, 2009, it was like promoters weren't trying to pay too much now to take the whole group. And we had to come to a understanding that now it was like they want to take Spanky Loco. They don't want to pay for the 310 West gang. I had to start shifting things. And if you didn't understand, then again, you didn't never love me. You were just in it for the ride. And so I think branding that and feeling, I think, guilty about taking a light or investing all the time into one person, myself, I felt like, I gotta spread it out with the homies. But that was tough. That was a very, very tough role to play. And I've never played it. I never played that role since, because it left such a bad taste in my mouth. Guys that supposed to love you all of a sudden despise you. You do 20,000 favors. The one time you can't do a favor, ya vales verga. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so, yeah, there was a shift. I think now it's I'm happy to push in the tradition of 310 West, in the tradition, all these things, but with my own take and my own twist and branding what I should have been branding a long time, the Spanky Loco movement.
Yeah, because I think one of the sayings a lot of people say is like you got to be able to help yourself before you help everybody else.
It's a popular word in the nonprofit game. You know what I'm saying? Popular word. You can't overextend yourself and do the best you can for yourself so that you can be whole and go out there and do the work.
Yeah.
You feel me?
Your CDs, and we're not only in like Plaza Mexico's and little CD stores, but you're also in the big stores like Sam Goody and we're next to the huge record label artists and stuff like that.
God bless.
How did you get who were you working with? I think you mentioned in one of the interviews you were working with Conejo.
Yes.
Who's also a very famous Mexican rapper, but also controversial rapper. Right. I'm sure you've heard things of like he's either good to work with or not to work with. How was that situation? How did that come about?
It was always gravy. It was always very mysterious. Okay. Because at the time he wasn't showing himself because of his legal issues.
Right.
So he was on the run for a long time, and I get like a package that was like Mission Impossible. This package will self-destruct in 30 seconds. Yeah, it was very interesting the way like the package would land and it's like, oh, hey, Conejo has something for you. Okay. So like that's why we had songs. But I never knew where he was. I didn't know where he lived. I don't know where he recorded. I didn't know any details about his life other than I thought he was a good motherfucker.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's actually the one that first connected us with our major distribution deal. It wasn't the greatest deal. Wasn't the greatest. The guy that ran that operation, he was all right. He wasn't the greatest, but nevertheless, he brought us to the table, and I feel like that situation helped flourish our name, flourish our reach. I feel like after that, our to be able to go to Mexico or go to Japan or go do these international shows was easy. It was wanted. You feel me? And I thank the homie Conejo for that.
You did mention the nonprofit, and I want to talk about a little bit more of what you're doing for the youth. But before we get to specifically what you do for the young people, why nonprofit instead of for profit, and what does that even mean?
So nonprofit and for profit. For profit is the branding of our music, the branding of the art, the branding of products that we use to pay for more products, pay for bills, pay for staff, right? Nonprofit is I think the collection of funds, the collection of volunteers, the collection of support to go out and give it away back to the community. That's my role with the nonprofit, and my understanding with the nonprofit role is having a tax exempt identification number to be able to receive donations, to put back into art, to put back into food, to put back into staff, which are all the things that I've been putting my own money forward to make an impact in the community. And so when you're paying your own, staff, when you're buying all the food, when you're paying for art supplies, when you're, doing a mural and half of it goes towards doing this work, I think then being organized and looking at how all the great organizations have maneuvered or done the most impact in their communities is saying, okay, let's look at the structure. Let's look at the structure and say this is the direction that we're trying to go, which is, building a sustainable situation where we can help out community members, children, parents, so on and so forth.
You're not living in California anymore. You're living in Washington. What were some of the reasons why you moved up there? Do you feel like you're gonna live there forever? And do you regret making the move?
I don't know. It's like the wind took me there. I don't know where the wind will take me next, but I feel like going to a place that was beautiful for my kids was important. Going to a place that was a little more untapped and where I felt like I was close to God, where I felt like I was doing the work and then I had something beautiful to look forward to. Not like I don't have many beautiful things to look forward here, but when you go and you're by the lake or you're there and you're you're seeing the ducks go by on the lake and there's deer up the way and there's snow falling on your face. It's just a different thing. And when we're working so hard, I feel like we aspire for those great things out of life. And when you don't aspire those great things out of life, there's something wrong. You feel me? When you're okay with being in the rut and being okay with being around, systemically this situation that's not really good for you or your family, and you're okay with that, that's where the issue lies. For me, it was getting out of my comfort zone and saying, fuck it, let's try something new. I had gone to Washington plenty of times to tattoo and gone everywhere in this beautiful world, a lot of beautiful places. So I probably could have gone to, somewhere else and felt the same thing. It just so happens it was Washington. Will I come back? I come back periodically. I don't know if I'll come back to plant a flag. It's like we got to look at, homelessness. We got to look at drug and fentanyl and all these things that are afflicting our community and say, well, do I want my kids in that? Me currently, I'd like to show them something different.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I've had the conversation with my kids like, hey, come on, guys. This was only for the summer. You guys ready to pack it up? And they're like, looking at me like, what? You crazy? Maybe it was because, you know, the last place where we were at wasn't all that. You know, we were closed down for a couple years. COVID had us fucked up. I mean, it was a few factors that made up that decision to say, hey, let's you know, my landlord at my tattoo shop was an asshole. I mean, one thing after another. It's like, man, let's try something new. Let's refresh.
It was during the pandemic when you guys moved?
Right after, yeah.
Okay.
We hadn't gone to the movies in like 2 years. First week we got there, I took my kids to the movies, which was so foreign. You know what I mean? To sit there and watch a movie and go out to the lake and try different things, you feel me? But again, that also opened my eyes to a lot of different things too. It ain't all, the grass was not all green. You feel me? Like, what I also came to realize is that in Washington, we're the minority, which means you don't get the same like everyone else. And I've noticed this more often in a lot of situations. Like, we're underrepresented, we're tokenized, we're undervalued, easily criminalized. I had some incident at my shop, and instead of the cops coming and helping me, they came and criminalized our business and said we were bringing negativity to the area. And mind you, we're tattooing soccer moms. We're tattooing, you know, people from all over the world. I've had people come from Canada, people come from Hawaii, people come from New York, people come from everywhere to come in. Hey, where you at now? In Seattle. Oh, it sounds great. Let me check it out. We're promoting the area. We're promoting the economy. We're stimulating the economy. We're putting in there's a 1% for the arts, for beautifying Washington through hotels. We contribute to that 1% of the state funding that goes towards beautification, but we don't got no action at beautifying Seattle. We can't get no grants to come and do Mexica art. We can't come and put Aztec dancers and things in public spaces. No way. It's not the culture. It's a new administration with new things going on. We got a history of cartels and drugs and violence, and so they correlate our people with negativity. And so when you're in Washington, you could tell right away. It's as clear as day. You feel me?
Like, they believe like what's in the news and the movies instead of, like, you know, seeing what you really are.
We're not that common, so they could pass judgment on us and think the worst of us. They cannot give us resources that equally belong to all of us, especially indigenous people of color. You know what I mean? Like, there's services and there's funding and there's support for that, but we're not served. I go and work with roughly 160 kids weekly. Most of the kids in there are Chicano in this institution, like 90%. But we're the 2% in Washington. We're the 3%, the 5%, whatever that low number might be. We're not the majority. So why are we the majority in these institutions? You feel me? Why are we the most incarcerated? Why are we the most underserved? You feel me? It's upside down, homie. And so when you really start thinking about these questions, when you really start thinking of the makeup of your environment, of course, here, we're all raza, we're deep. Now we got other things to worry about here. But when you're there and you're like, wait a minute, what you mean the teacher don't want to help you? What you mean they don't got this for you? What you mean they won't come and help us repair our building because the med heads are running around rampant, destroying all the businesses. No one respects business. No one understands from the bottom up. No one understands an investment into your future and generational value of being an entrepreneur. And it's a thing of the past, homies. It's a lost thing, right? And so when you're there lifting your hands and you got questions and you want to know why and you want to know why, then you start understanding, okay, this is systemic. Means it's built this way for a reason. It's built this way to keep you away from the resources, to keep you in jail, to keep you in poverty, to keep you in a mental prison. So now we're fighting with each other. Now we're dealing with alcoholism. We're dealing with all the things that are going to numb, that are answering these questions of why. Oh, fuck it, let's go get fucked up.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so these questions have been important to me, and the advocating of our people have been important to me, and lifting my hand and saying, hey, you know what? We got a voice too. Regardless if I'm this Latino or that Latino. And you'd be surprised. You go to organizations, institutions, occasions, and they're like, you have an organization? Nah, you ain't the right Latino. You that other kind of Latino. And we don't service that. I've walked into places and they're like, hey, I go, man, you guys got equipment? Other organizations, Latino-ran organizations. Oh, yeah, these equipments are for this. We do music here. We do engineering. We do this. We do that. But we don't let the cholitos in here.
Damn.
They'll fuck up everything. We don't let them in here. And I'm thinking, like, what the fuck? Those little homies are the main ones you should be loving and nurturing. Because they don't have parents that speak English, because they're not being represented and advocated for at school. Therefore, they're falling through the cracks and they're calling it behavioral issues. And now that's why we're the 90% in these institutions. Instead of being the 99% graduating, the 90% receiving grants and scholarships and funding to support our endeavors, right? None of that. So that's where my advocacy comes in. That's where I start worrying about my morals. That's when I start thinking, like, it's important for you to have your business. It's important for you to be somebody, because they want you to be nobody. They don't want you to have a handle like that. And it's evident, homie. That Republican shit, that whole, make America great shit, that's out. You feel me? When you oppressing other people and saying that you're the elite class and this ain't for them and this is for us, and now you're systemically, you're hindering the next man to fill your plate. And I don't understand why we can't fill each other's plate to get what we need, right?
Do you see a similar, as far as or any differences between the youth here, growing up with the youth as a youth here, and the youth up there? Do you feel like we're all dealing with the same issues, or is it harder for Latinos and Chicanos up there than it was down here?
I feel like we're all in pain. I feel like there's a lot of parents here that don't understand what their kids are going through. There's generational trauma where we're imposing this behavior and we're normalizing it now, right? We normalize it. And so I think the need for kids up north to identify with our kids down south and have something to believe in and have a group that would accept them, it all resembles what we've been through here. You got homies out there that don't understand about gangs, but they have a gang. And they're in a gang because they need that. You feel me? I went to go see one of the little homies. Their counselor was like, you got to come help him. He hasn't been going to school. He came out of the program. Now he's fucking up in his neighborhood. Well, I went out there to look for the little homie. And I ran into the little homie, but then I ran into 12 other youngsters like him. Minors, hanging out at the local hamburger shop, getting loaded at 10, 11 in the morning. And I'm asking the counselor, white counselor, I'm like, how the other kids doing? How the other groups? how the other Latino kids doing at the school? Oh, they're all doing great. And I'm like, bullshit. Because I just saw most of them at the hamburger joint getting loaded at 11 in the morning. And I'm sitting there with the little homies, and yeah, they think it's all gravy and, hey, you want a cup and you want a drink and you want to... And I'm like, I can do that. But I'd rather do something else with you guys. Let's do a little kickback, no? Let's have a little car show. What? Let's do a little cookout. Let's do art together. Let me find a wall out here that we could beautify and we'll paint together. I could come and get fucked up with you guys, but then I'm not going to serve my purpose. I'm going to be here loaded, and that's not what you want from me, do you? And the little homies are like thinking about it and thought-provoking shit. You feel me? Like, ain't nobody telling the little homies, oh, come on, go to class, or hey, come on, you can do better. They got parents that don't even speak the language, that are being oppressed, that are limited from taking advantage of the resources because we're scared to do it. We're scared to lift our hand. I'm an immigrant. I'm a refugee. I don't deserve that. And there we go, excluding ourselves once again from things that should be there in place to help push our people in a direction. Right. The opportunities are there, but we're just so scared to take advantage of them. And so I feel like all these things have been very important to me. I'm on some other shit, carnal. Again, dispensa.
Do you feel like you maybe in the beginning didn't know why you were going up there? Now you feel like you found a calling up there, like you're supposed to be up there?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. When I got there, I go, man, I want to be closer to God. We're going to be closer to God out here. Didn't mean we had to go to church every day, because I don't mean nothing unless you really are with him. You feel me? Don't matter how many times you're going to church. If you're sitting there and you're thinking about the same bullshit and you're getting out and you're still acting the same, what difference does it make if you went on Sunday? You feel me? It's going and taking the good word, using that as inspiration, and being like, how can I do better? That's a sign. That was a message. My pastor shot some shit to me. What can I do with that to move forward? Right? So I feel like every angle from every direction, I'm looking at the best signs and looking at the best messages to be able to do my work in stride. And yeah, it's a calling. It is. And I'm excited. You know, if there's a need for it, then by all means, I'm there and happy to do the work. I'm telling you, I work with 160 kids. That's a lot of fucking kids.
Hell yeah.
Every week for 5 months in this institution before they graduate, and then a new cycle comes in. And these are kids that are going through behavioral issues, school issues, gang involvement, a little bit of everything. Samoan kids, black kids, white kids, Pacific Islander, but most importantly, Chicano kids. And when I go in there, we're coloring on books that I designed, cultural coloring books with Mexica headdresses and Mexica Aztec princesses. I'm drawing homies on there. I'm drawing OGs, planchando. I'm doing all kind of amazing Chicano things in there. And when they're looking at it and they're like, oh, I don't understand this. I'm like, don't trip. We all understand it and we all correlate with it. Now it's you opening your mind and saying that there's another group of people that you can love or that you can denounce. That's entirely up to you. I'm just showing you the beauties of what our culture brings. Food, arte, music, tattooing. We'll sit there and talk about tattooing. I'll bring equipment in and we'll have a workshop on tattooing. I mean, the institution has... The last thing they probably allow me to do is come and stay at the bunks too. I've talked to the director and be like, hey, can I crash here with the little homies? Can I actually stay here for the night, for a couple nights? Why not? So they know I'm in here in the trenches and not just trying to talk a good one.
Yeah.
That we're sitting here and we're talking about culture and positivity and I'm helping them, you know, move forward. It's important to me. It's important. Maybe I lacked that. Maybe I needed that. And if we can, you know, guide the next man into doing the right thing, by all means, I feel amazed by that.
You have the Jesus tattoo in your cheek, the spider in your chin. Do you feel like some of your tattoos are a little bit of like a contradiction with each other, or is it more like a story of like your chapters throughout your different life, you know? And are you still getting the same tattoos you were when you were young? Or are you into different styles of tattoo now as you get older?
I collect now. I collect from artists. I collect from homies. I go all over the world and collect from different artists that I admire, that I respect. And so I feel like now it's collecting. I'm an art collector. So it's gone from tattooing or getting tattooed to collecting pieces from different artists of different demographics. And I've, you know, picked religious images and you know, carry the Jesus one, you know, very well because it correlates with me right now, and it's my, you know, my guidance, it's my support, it's my, you know, faithful ear when I got, you know, things ailing me that I need to talk to someone to.
Yeah.
And so I talk to my big homie, and that's very effective in my life. And I feel like to judge a book by its cover, to say like, you know, damn, I don't want none of this anymore, or oh, this was the hood on me or whatever. It's all part of the story. It's all part of why we're here today, because I can't really do the work if I didn't have that lived experience. You feel me? The youngsters can sit there and be like, Spanky, can I talk to you? Because I cannot talk to this white administrator. And if you could tear down that barrier to be able to relay the message, right? Then by all means, this is what God did to make it happen. It's all his plan. It's not mine. You feel me? Mm-hmm. And so I take the gifts of art, the gifts of music, the gifts of painting, the borrowed gifts, because they all borrowed. They not for me, really. I've understood that now. They're for me to pass along to my youngsters, pass along to my kids, pass along to my seed. A tool to be able to engage with the little homies where I would have never been able to, you know, sit there and talk about, you know, empowering things and be like, look, we're going to Japan, or hey, we came from New York, or hey, you could do it too, little homie. Because you could see the despair in these kids' faces. They have no one to, you know, look up to. They got no one to use as a reference to be like, hey, man, if he could do it, I could do it. It's more like, oh, man, I'm going to get high because he gets high. I'm going to be down because he's down. I'm going to do the gang thing because he does the gang thing. Not, hey, be a homie, but be a good homie.
Yeah. And
set up your own business and do what you love and look at the resources that the state has put in place for you to be successful. Go to a trade. You like that? Go find out at this place what resources you can get. Go come to this location and tap into this director because they're going to guide you into that profession that you love. I mean, let's figure it out. That's where we're at. And if it takes using the package to tear down doors, by all means. I don't walk into, you know, mayor's office and city council member's office and the school board and all these places that I walk into, and I don't go and try to put foundation on in a wig and be like, hi, how you doing? My name is Javier Silva, and, you know, I'm here representing, you know, like, if you want it, firme. If you think I'm not for the job, that's firme too. I'm going to keep knocking on the next door and the door after that. That's how I got to those 160 kids, by knocking on doors, by saying, hey, there's a need for this. Can I go in and talk to the morros? Can I go in and chop it up with them and tell them that everything is possible, that we can do great things here? Oh, yeah, we don't have anything like this. We've never had anyone of color come and breathe positivity into the kids, especially looking like you. So by all means, yeah, let's give it a shot. Let's see what happens out of this.
That's dope.
12 of them will sign up, we think. and another one. No, I think 2 dozen will sign up. All 160 signed up. All 160. The half a dozen that didn't was because they were in the chow hall cleaning up, or they were in the laundry room, or whatever the case. Oh, what? I want to be down. How can I sign up? But literally all of them. And when we come again, it's creative writing, tattooing, cultura, things that my youngsters ain't got out there. You know what I'm saying? Things that they're only looking at the internet and saying, fuck, eventually I might do it. Let me go hit this lick though.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Nah, work hard at it and you can do it. And you will. And we'll do it together. I'm here with you.
That's dope, dog. I feel like a lot of times, like, I'm like that. If I see somebody doing something dope, I feel like I could do that.
Hey.
But if I don't have anything positive to look at, then I'm going to do something negative, right? So it's dope. I think it's commendable, and it's really dope what you do for the kids, dog.
Thank you.
Again, dog, I really appreciate you pulling up to the podcast, man, pulling up to Southgate here at the Lit Outlet, dog, and sharing your story. And I'm sure there's people listening to this or watching this clip on Instagram or whatever it is, and, just showing people there's a different way. Before you get out of here, how can people reach out to you? What do you got coming next for you? Anything that you want to promote?
We always push clothing. We push music. Fortunately, we've been wrapped up with this nonprofit biz, pushing and investing our time into the community, different communities, from here in Southern California all the way up to, Washington. And so music is always prevalent. We got some new things coming with our partners. Shout out to homie Gotos. Shout out all the homies that are putting in that good work to set their mark. We also got clothing, which we're heavily involved in. We do a lot of custom stuff, hoodies, tees, bags, tattoo aprons, tattoo bags. I always love creating, handmade products, limited products, pinturas also. I've done canvases for a couple of interesting brown-owned businesses in the Washington area. So that's been a blessing to be able to add Spanky Loco Arte to different, like-minded businesses and things, and even a museum out there in the Bainbridge Island, Washington area. Did a collection there, and so I think the arts have been amazing for us. We've been able to sell paintings and sell to collectors that see the need for picking up art to support what Locos does, what our organization does. Locos, leading our children off streets. So art, very prevalent. Music, very prevalent. If you haven't checked it out, the ropa, very prevalent. And of course, without specifying, but every dollar that goes towards these projects goes back into the streets. That's in dope. One way or another. Love that. So, yeah, check out spankylocal.net. And of course, if you want to support our mission to supporting the BIPOC community, by all means, localsnonprofit.org. You could send us a message there. And always looking for volunteers and ways to connect with other orgs and other beautiful people that want to make an impact in this world.
That's dope, dog. Last question. Are you tattooing differently? You said you're tattooing like soccer moms up there in Seattle. What are some of the things that people ask for tattoos up there that they don't ask for down here?
I think it's all the same, man. It's like flowers, stippled flowers, and when I look at it, it's like the soccer moms want the black and gray pepper shaded Pintero style flowers, which is amazing to me. It's like all the homegirls would cover them up, and but now you got you got soccer moms getting Pintero style black and gray tattoos, and my work is I think represents our culture. It represents our time in prison, our pains in prison, our creativity in prison. And so I really embody doing freehand Pintero work. I love doing, religious images, sacred hearts, Jesus pieces, full sleeves, stories that correlate with you, stories that correlate with me, that represent our our past, our future. So I feel like that's my biggest niche, is embodying lo que es Chicano y el arte Chicano. So I'm very blessed. I've done this all over the world, and I'm just here to give it away to the ones that need it and are paving the way forward next. So God is great. Why, you ready to get tatted or?
Yeah, dog. Whenever you're down, I'm down, dog.
Okay, the Mike Tyson or algo. We'll talk about
something
it.
crazy. Put
Yeah,
the literal logo on my forehead or
there
something.
you go. Okay, okay, for sure.
Again, dog, thank you so much for playing
Thank
up
you,
to
Papa.
us and sharing your story with us. For
Thank
the
you.
people who have already heard it, I'm sure they're here again listening to it, and all the new people out there. Thank you guys for watching, listening.
Thank you.
Stay tuned for this episode. It's going to be dropping soon, and the more you guys support, the more dope people with dope stories like the homie right here, Spanky, can come in and share and spread light to what used to be darkness. Right?
Come on, we're just doing our part.
That's right.
Whatever it looks like these days. Yes, sir. Thank you,
that,
Carnal.
man.
I appreciate you.
Thank you for
Thanks
coming,
for the
dog.
love. Thanks for
Anytime.
having me. Thank you.
Appreciate it. And then remember, you guys out there, like, comment, subscribe, all that cool stuff on the internet. Follow us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. If you're watching this on Apple Podcasts, make sure you guys are rating the 5 stars on the pod, just to help this shit promote and more people can see it. So thank you guys. Remember, pull up, turn up, and stay lit. Let's get it.
Hey.